Welcome to the Artist Impact Podcast, helping you gain confidence, grow your talent, and advance your impact. And now, here are your hosts, Paul Gibbs and Nate Miller.
And welcome once again. Here we are with the Notespire Radio Artist Impact, trying to help you do what God has called you to do. That's what we're called to do. I'm Paul.
And I'm Nate.
And here we're going to talk about what do you do when there's nothing you can do or when there's nothing to do.
And we should probably say, in case someone is listening to this in the distant future, that here in the U.S. and in the world, actually, we're in the midst of this COVID-19 or coronavirus debacle. I don't know what other thing to say for it, but
that's probably a good word.
Most people are basically quarantined in their homes. Some people are going out, but businesses are closed. Concerts and conferences have all been discontinued or postponed indefinitely. There aren't any large gatherings in the public. So, obviously we're talking about, musicians and artists here on this podcast. That's a huge, blow, a huge effect to what we do.
To what we do, right. As creative types, we, the outlets that we have to use are...
They're gone for the indefinite future.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to talk about today. What do you do when there's nothing to do? I mean, all of your gigs and concerts and shows and venues have been canceled or shut down. So what do you do?
Well,
but I think let's start with what we're not going to do.
What we're not going to do.
We're not going to panic. That's the big thing.
Well, I know I'm not happy because I don't know, but I can't, about you guys out there, I can't go to the diner for breakfast. I'm not going to do that. I want to, but I'm sorry, I digress.
We all have to make sacrifices.
We do,
right?
I know.
But no, the big thing is don't panic. I think everybody's on a spectrum here. They're either like to the point where they're like, oh, well, this doesn't affect me at all, from that end all the way to, don't breathe the air in your own home. Maybe there's a spectrum here. Everybody's, somewhere on this panic list. But really, don't panic, but also don't be foolish. Obviously, follow the guidelines that the government and the CDC have been giving about social distancing. Like right now, Paul and I are social distancing ourselves in the studio.
Yep.
We have our 3 to 6 feet between us, and so we're doing what we can to prevent the spread. But I think it's important for us not to panic, and most importantly for us as creative types, I think this needs to be said, Paul. Don't stop creating and sharing.
That is
because
good.
Now more than ever, people need some sense of normalcy in their lives.
Right.
They also need some sense of hope and entertainment. With people more and more being locked inside or choosing to stay inside and just going online to streaming services or watching things on their phone, this is now more than ever when they need sources of hope and inspiration and entertainment from us as creative types. So please, don't stop creating, and definitely do not stop sharing your work and your art in this time right now.
I love what you said about connection. We really need that. And my goodness, we have technology to the extent that we've never had it before. Let's put it to good use, friends. We need to be connected. If we can't connect face to face, we can connect online. We can connect on the phone. And like you said, Nate, people need hope, and we need to know that life is normal, even if it's a new normal.
Right.
We have to do that. And as somebody wrote just recently, and just backstepping here just for a second until we, so many things have been canceled. And I just want to get this in here. So many things have been canceled, but there are some very important things, friends, that have not been canceled. First of all, love has not been canceled. In fact, love, the more you spread it, the more you use it, the more there is of it. So that'll never be canceled. Fun, having fun, the things that we thought, how do we say it? Things that you might think are fun, things that are fun might change. Maybe to some of those things that you can't do anymore, but fun itself has not been canceled. And we all tie this all into the to the music and the creative types. And finally, being good to each other and sharing with each other.
Out of style.
That has not been canceled. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So those things have not been canceled. So let's move on. And
I mean, so obviously the biggest thing probably for you guys out there that are our listeners, if you are a working musician or an artist, you probably have experienced some loss of revenue, some loss of income, especially if your concerts and your gigs have been canceled. And we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes, what you can do to maybe hopefully make up some of that that loss. There are some practical things you can do, maybe not to replace it all, but to hopefully to comfort that a little bit.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, there's just some practical things that we can do as creative types and artists right now, especially because a lot of us probably have much more free time. When you're out gigging and you're on the road and you're constantly thinking about, what do I need to do next to line up the next performance? And you're just in the active mode of performing and getting the practical and the logistic things done for you to get out there. There's a lot of other things that sort of fall to the wayside. They're like, oh, well, I'll do that I'll save that for a rainy day or a weekend or something that I don't have a gig.
Yeah.
So
the rainy day is here.
There's probably a list, of things that you've been putting off. Well, now is the time to start working on those things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ideas for maybe some practical things that we can do to not only just fill our time, but to keep pushing ourselves forward in our careers?
Well, I think for one thing, practicing, and we talked about this a while back. We did a whole podcast
that was our last.
It was, wasn't it?
Was 19? We're doing episode 20 right now. So.
Yeah, so still practicing, friends. You don't find time to do that. You may now that may say, oh, I don't want to practice. Practice is a 4-letter word. No, it's not. Like we said before. Yeah. Do that. That's one thing you can do with your time. Or maybe you might be on the other side of that coin and say, man, I just wish I had time to practice. Well, now you do. Learning another instrument or learning your instrument better, or it's expanding your horizons and your territory and your abilities in whatever way that you find appropriate is great. Keep writing songs if you're a songwriter. If you're not, that's okay. You do cover songs? Well, let's pick some more cover songs. Let's pick some new ones and start working on those. If you're a songwriter, start writing. Keep writing and don't stop doing that. How about recording? If you've got a home studio, or even if you don't, then brush up your skills, expand your skills, learn more about the recording side of it, and the producing side of your music, and sharing that. There's so many online ways that you can share and take advantage of some of those. Collaboration is, I think it's always important, but even right now it's even more important. And there's so many ways that we can collaborate together online. Writing songs, writing music with somebody else online, maybe just one other person or a group of people writing songs together online. Producing. With the software we have now, you can record a piano part and send it to somebody around the world, and they can put the guitar part on it. It's awesome. Vocals too. As long as the equipment is reasonably of good quality, there's things you can do there. I'll stop. Let you take over.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to hone in on what you said there about the technology. We all know this. We've been soaked in it. Saturated in it for years now, but take advantage of, capitalize, whatever you want to say, of the technology that we have now, especially now, because if you can't go out and physically meet your fans, this is the time more than ever that you can connect with your fans, your friends, your followers online, and use this time now to either up your game or to do all the stuff that was on your list that you couldn't practically do when you were out, doing performances all the time. I'll give some practical things here. Some of my list will overlap with what you just said, but take this time to work on your content creation. That's uploading music, videos, or even blogs. maybe you have a lot of back catalog of stuff, like live videos that you did while you were out performing that you just never posted. Or if you don't have a YouTube channel yet, create one now. Start using this downtime to use all these digital platforms, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Reverb Nation or any of these other social media platforms. Start one if you don't have one, and if you do have one, really take the time to fill in all the gaps that you've been missing. If you have back catalog that you haven't posted, really increase your digital footprint and make sure that everything that you have to connect with your fans is out there. You can start scheduling posts now. That's the thing that takes a little bit of legwork in the beginning.
Right.
But once you do it, it's great because you can have posts scheduled out for months.
Right.
So take some of this downtime that you guys have now and schedule either posts they could just be still images, they could be videos, links to things, whatever it is, blog posts. Schedule a bunch of these things out for, months ahead. And then once that's done, you can just let the technology do that for you.
A good website, friends, is Hootsuite. That's one word, HOOTSUITE. Hootsuite is software that lets you schedule Facebook posts and things.
Yeah, there you go. You mentioned skill development. I think that's a good thing here. Like, we often want to get better at what we do to improve our craft, but we don't always have time to do that. This is a great time, like Paul said, to work on your instrument, practice. Maybe you always wanted to pick up a second instrument. Maybe you're a guitar player, but you tinker a little bit on the keys. Sit down and actually start working on it now that you have a little bit of free time. And just improve your skill set at what you're already doing. Maybe there's an online course that you've been wanting to take, whether it's music theory or, vocal training skills or exercises. Do that. Take the time to improve your craft. When you come out on the other side of this, to just think about how much better you're going to be, even with just a few weeks or a few months of training under your belt. Like Paul said, the tech aspect of it, whether you're working on your digital workstation, your recording software, or some other aspect, maybe you have if you're a guitar player, you have a bunch of different effects pedals, and you really never sat down and played with the knobs, tweaked the knobs to figure out what other sounds you could get.
Yeah.
This would be a great time to experiment.
Yeah.
You could even upload a video of trying different sounds to engage with your fans.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Something fun to do.
And if you're like me, friends, if you got some keyboards or even one keyboard, I'm guessing you probably have not even scratched the surface of what that keyboard can do.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So there you go.
And obviously, like Paul said, your songwriting. Take this time to write some new songs, expand your repertoire or your catalog, learn some new cover songs. The biggest thing I think we want to say here is continue to plan your music career, because eventually all of this is going to go away.
Yeah.
And don't waste this time. You have so much time to plan things out. Here's a practical thing. Take this time to reach out to new contacts and new venues in the meantime. Like, maybe you can't play there now, but you can start setting up contacts and venues to play in the future once these doors open up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Don't wait until everything's okay. We've been approved to go out and perform again to try to get into these places. Start contacting them now, making friends, making connections. That way, when they're allowed to open and have gatherings of people again, you have your foot in the door.
How about improving your website, getting better, maybe you've been neglecting that. Get that website updated,
get it up to date,
get some new music on there, get some new photos on there, and then that you can direct the churches or whoever you're contacting to go to that nice fresh website that you've just updated. How about your EPK, your electronic press kit? Get that update. If you don't have one, check that out on Reverb Nation's.
How about your mailing list?
Mailing list. There you go.
That's the thing. A lot of people who perform live, they might put a clipboard out where people sign up to get on the mailing list.
Yeah.
Do you have everybody on that list?
Mm-hmm.
And take this time now to compose some emails and reach out to your fans. Basically, you want to keep connecting with your fans in any way possible, whether it's by posting videos, by blogging, by emailing them, whatever you can do to continue to connect and, share your art with them. And here's finally one more practical tip before I think we need to take a quick break here. And you said about people not wanting to practice, but here's one.
Yeah.
How about cleaning and organizing your music studio or your practice space?
Oh.
How often it's one of those things
we're supposed to do that?
We all know that we need to do it, but it's one of those things like, oh, I'll do that later. I'll put it off. But like, seriously, get it done. You'll feel so much better. Just clean and organize your space. And you know what? You're going to be much more productive if everything is put back into order and you have all your equipment, up, hanging up or just ready to be used to grab at a moment's notice, whether you're going to be writing, recording, whatever it is. Just get clean and organized, and everything will run smoothly from that point on.
Get rid of the pizza boxes.
Yeah.
All right. Friends, we'll be right back. We're going to talk about some ways to maybe continue the revenue. We don't want you to get paralyzed in this situation and just kind of freeze up like the deer in the headlight. Okay. We don't want to be doing that. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Artist Impact Podcast with your hosts, Nate Miller and Paul Gibbs. And now, back to the Artist Impact Podcast with your hosts, Paul Gibbs and Nate Miller.
And we're back. We're talking about what to do when there's nothing to do. Oh, boy. Yeah. So, the last thing we want to do is panic, and we don't want to freeze up, and we don't want to just give in to fear and all that kind of stuff. No,
we don't want to stop creating or sharing.
Right. So maybe it's time to think outside the box a little bit. Let's and we're going to talk about revenue in just a minute, but let's think outside the box. I got a couple thoughts here, and I'm sure Nate will have a few more for you. Is this time to start a new album, a new CD project? Well, you know what? I think it might be. If you've been thinking about it, but you're saying, well, Paul, I don't have the money. Nate, I can't afford that. Well, that's what crowdfunding is for. I mean, I saw on Facebook just last week, I think it was an artist, and I won't say his name, but it was a guy that he wanted to start a new project, and he was doing a Kickstarter, whatever campaign. And then like a couple weeks later, he posted that he reached his goal, and the project was it was a video I think he wanted to do.
Oh, cool.
The project was going to move forward. So, don't be afraid to do that. Reach out and say, you know what, I've got a new project, friends, and reach out and see about that. So there's one way of thinking out, and that might be thinking way outside the box for somebody out there, but that's what we have to do these days. Keep creating, as Nate said. Yes, keep creating, keep performing. Churches are having online services these days. I see artists are doing videos where they just sit in their house and perform. Yes, do that. How about a live concert, a live online concert, where and I would encourage churches. If you're a church and you're thinking about, or maybe you already have canceled upcoming concerts, or you're thinking, we can't have concerts now because we can't have people coming in. Well, how about doing it online? I noticed this just recently. Somebody said that they were going to go ahead and have the concert that they had scheduled, and they were going to do it online. They were going to live stream it. And I like this. They were going to have a way and encourage people to still give to the artist that was performing. Yeah. You always have a love offering, and can we still do that online? Sure. Absolutely we can. Just educate people, set it up, educate people as to on how to do it, how to give, make it easy and painless. I guess I shouldn't. I'm sorry. Anyway, but make it easy and encourage people that, as I said this earlier, Christian artists still need to minister and be ministered to. Yeah. So that's another thing. I think I had one more here. About house concerts. How about doing a house concert, right? maybe you can't have 10 or 20 people in your living room, but you can do a house concert, whether it's just you or just your family, just a handful of people, as it's appropriate. And then live stream that, and friends, maybe you're not the artist, but maybe you could host, maybe you have a place that you could host a concert, or you could bring people to watch the concert from your house, just a handful of people. Just, we want to maintain the social distancing and stuff like that. So, we'll be practical about it. But, you as the artist, don't be afraid to just get online and say, I'm going to do a house concert. I'm going to be online for a half hour or an hour. I'm going to do a concert. Do it just like you would do it in a church or whatever, and tell people about it. And again, make it easy, for people to give to that. Make a way for that way. And if you're watching, please, friends, please support that artist that's doing that.
Yeah, I like what you said about just reach out to your fans. If you have loyal fans out there as performers, they want to stay engaged with what you're doing.
Good point.
If they know, they obviously know that you're hurting as an artist because you can't perform, and chances are they've been wanting to experience some of your music. So I really think, especially if they're faithful fans, they will be more than glad to support you. Whether it's through a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter or whatever any of those other crowdfunding platforms are out there. Patreon is another one,
right?
And there's really creative ways you can engage your fan base using those platforms. One of those is to offer a dedicated song. Tell somebody for a certain amount that you'll actually write a song specifically for them.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to do an online performance, like a mini concert, and, depending on your Patreon tiers or whatever, if someone donates so much that you actually mention them live on the concert. And there's other giveaways and ways that you can engage your fans, give something back to them for continuing to support you as you do a new project. I think Paul mentioned, if you are doing new songwriting, tell people that you're working on a new album. A lot of people like to pre-order or prepay for an album, especially if they know they're going to be listed in the special thanks.
Yeah.
On Patreon or even on the album itself.
This album is brought to you by.
Yeah. You can create PayPal links if you haven't done that yet, where people can easily pay.
Yeah.
Online. You can make it almost foolproof, for people. And again, don't underestimate the loyalty of your fans. Reach out to them, let them know that you're still creating and you want to bring fresh new content to them, but you need their help. And I guarantee you that they're going to want to be a part of that. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I think they miss you, friends.
Yeah.
Your fans miss you. They want to see you, and they want to hear you. And I want to touch on this, and this is something that I personally have kind of struggled with, or at least it came to mind, that you look online and you see artists out there, and they're on Facebook and they're on YouTube, and they're doing these things already, and maybe, just maybe, you think, oh, well, would I just be jumping on the bandwagon and doing it because everybody else is doing it? So you might do a little self-check there and find, oh, gee, is my motive, are my motives right? Well, you know what, friend? If you don't do it, then you won't do it. Does that make sense? All right. So because Nate and I were talking about this before we started this podcast. Our motives definitely have to be correct. They always have to be right. We can't just be in this for ourselves. And that goes for any time of any season in our lives, any time at all. But especially now, check your motives, make sure they're right, make sure they're always right. You're doing this for the right reason. Remember the why. We always say that. Remember the why. Remember why you're doing it. And then, friend, make sure you're doing it for the right reason, and do it. Do it. Because if you don't, then your message is not getting out there. Your music is not getting out there. So, in that respect, it's business as usual, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you are a Christian musician. You are creative. You need to use your gifts. Maybe we're talking about different ways you can use them, but don't think that people are going to think badly of you or negatively of you if you do something outside the box, or they're not going to think, well, he or she's just doing it because everybody else does. No, you're doing it because God has called you to do it. And remember, you have that voice that he's given you, and you need to those gifts. So use them. I hope that came out right. I think it did.
Yeah.
I think it did. All right.
So we talked a little bit about, kind of out of the box thinking things here where you can maybe continue to get a little bit of revenue in by doing these kind of special events or reaching out to fans and getting their support. There's a couple other practical ways that you can continue getting some revenue in. And one of the most practical things is just reminding your current fan base, or maybe some of the new ones that have come on, of where your music and if you have any, where your merch is available online.
Yeah, right.
People may have forgotten, like, oh, I can actually I can download some of your music and pay for it to support you. Or if you have merch available online, maybe they don't remember that, or they didn't know about it, and they would be glad to buy, a hat or a hoodie or, a t-shirt or something. So if you have those things already in place, remind your fans about that. That's a really easy, practical step to continue some revenue coming in. Here's another one. This is maybe a little bit more out of the box, but if you have a certain skill level in terms of your playing as an instrumentalist, or you're singing as a vocalist, how about offering online music lessons? I mean, you can do anything through online services in terms of like Skype or FaceTime or any of these other platforms. If you're capable, if you're qualified to teach somebody else, you use that. You use your skill and the free time that you have now outside of your performances to kind of pay it forward, give back to the community. Maybe you have a fan who really looks up to you and they would love to learn from you. Maybe they're an aspiring musician or artist in their own right, and they really look up to you. Think about how amazing they would feel to have you give back to them by teaching them.
Wow.
Maybe even teaching them how to play some of your songs or sing some of your songs.
There you
go. So there's an opportunity to maybe get some extra income. And here's one we'll touch on just briefly, because this is a whole nother ball of wax that we would probably have to do another program on. But maybe use some of this downtime to work on getting some of your music licensed. And that means getting your music prepped and getting it out there for use it could be for TV, it could be for movies, online streaming things. There are always companies out there that are looking for music to use as like a soundtrack, or just a music bed for different things online, whether it's television, actually pre-produced television shows, movies, commercials, whatever it is. There's a whole lengthy process of how do you go about doing that. There's some online helps. I know you mentioned like CD Baby helps you to do that.
Yep.
But that's another revenue stream that maybe you never considered. And if you need help, we can point you in some directions on how to get that done. But consider getting your music licensed. That way, it's almost like having passive income. Someone pays to use your music for something else, and you get some income from it.
Yeah. Another thought I just had is to throw in here quickly is your music available as sheet music?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have your music available? That's another thing to be able to do. Sometimes I think a lot of us just don't have time to do that. If you've got some extra time, look into that, getting your music, whether you do it yourself with software or somebody does it for you, and then have that available too. And people may just be interested in purchasing sheet music of your songs. Also, background tracks is another thing to have available. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in closing, we just want to say, keep creating, guys. Keep engaging with your fans, your followers, and your friends. Reach out to them any way you can, whether it's by email, by videos, by blogs, doing live videos, any sort of social media posts. Take some of these practical tips that we gave you. Some of them are a little out of the box. Hopefully they help to either give you concrete ideas or just to spur your creativity about how you can continue to engage your fans with what you're doing, and hopefully to continue receiving some of the revenue if you do depend upon that as an artist.
Yeah. Lots of ways. So yeah, we've planted some seeds, I hope, friends. And hey, we want to hear from you. If you've got some ideas, maybe something you've tried and that you have had some success with, or something you're thinking about trying, or you'd like to add to this list of things that we've talked about, we want to hear from you. Our email is info@notespire.music.com, NOTESPIRE music.com. You can connect with us there. Website, of course, is www.notespiremusic.com. You can connect with us on Facebook and Instagram. Again, Notespire Music. And how else can they get together with us?
YouTube at Notespire Music TV.
Yeah.
And also don't forget Notespire Radio.
Right.
It's WNSMDB, notespireradio.com.
Yeah, all kinds of ways. So, hope that's been a help, friends. Remember, fun has not been canceled. Okay, being good to each other has not been canceled. And you know what? If you're a Christian musician, your music has not been canceled.
Amen.
All right. Until next time, friends, we will be together soon, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And until next time, you take care of yourselves
and take care of each other.
God bless you. Bye-bye.
The Artist Impact Podcast is a production of Notespire Music, LLC. At Notespire Music, we empower independent Christian musicians to grow their God-given music potential by refining their craft and extending their music ministry reach through mentorship, training, trusted resources, music production, and artist promotion. Notespire Music, helping you gain confidence, grow your talent, and advance your impact. For more information, visit notespiremusic.com. That's NOTESPIREMUSIC.com.